Hello and welcome to another AI video. And in this video, we will be creating an AI agent for the financial analysis. And for that, we will be using a framework which is called as Agno. And previously, it was being referred as PhiData. So recently, PhiData has been changed to Agno. So what is Agno? Basically, it's a framework that allows us to create AI agents. And again, the purpose of the framework is that we will have to use lesser code to create any agent or any other kind of functionality. So you can go through their website, and again, very high performance agents with memory, with knowledge, and lots of functionality. And again, this framework allows us to get connect to different large language models, for example the llama or the open AI, so any other type of large language models. Other than that, in order to access the large language model, we will be using the Groq, and using the Groq we can access the llama, or we can also access the DeepSeek. So these are all the different type of large language models which are available. So again, these are all free to use, and so there are different certain limitations that on the usage, that how much we can use on a daily basis. But again, we have plenty of usage, free usage on these different models. So we will be using the Groq to access the large language models, and we will be using the Agno as the framework to do all the coding work. All right, so let's begin the work. And so I have created a folder, Financial Agent Agno. So it is just a blank folder. And what I will do is I will open the Visual Studio Code. So right click and show more options and open with code. So I just created a blank folder and I opened the Visual Studio Code within that blank folder. So this is how the interface will look like for the Visual Studio. And to start our work, what we will do is, first of all, we will have to install different dependencies. So I will show you some of the dependencies that we will require. So again, if you are creating the virtual environment, so you can create the virtual environment for Python 3.12, and within the virtual environment you will have this file requirements.txt, and you will have to install different dependencies. Now we don't need the file data, so I will just delete it. So you will need the Agno, OpenAI, python.env, and we will also require the YFinance. So using the YFinance, we will be getting the financial information in order to perform any financial analysis. Then we'll need the packaging, and then in order to perform the web search, we'll be using this DuckDuckGo search, and Fast API, UVCon, and Groq. So these are some of the dependencies that we will be requiring. If you are not using the virtual environment, which means you are directly working on the installed Python, so you can go to the installed directory where you have installed the Python, and from the command prompt you can just run this command, uh, pip install Agno. So you'll have to perform the same for all of these dependencies. So, or the other option is you can go through all at once. So pip install Agno, then OpenAI space, next one space, and then you complete the full sentence, and then press enter in the command prompt. But make sure you are in the directory where you have installed the Python. So whether it is your virtual environment or you are not using the virtual environment, so these are the dependencies that you will be requiring to work on this example for the financial analysis. Okay, so once you have installed the dependencies. So I'm not using the virtual environment. I already have installed all of the dependencies. So let's begin the coding work. And in order to do the coding work, so let's create a file here. So we will create a file and let's give it a name, financial agent, financial underscore agent dot py. So that is the first Python file that we will be creating. Okay, so since we already have installed the dependencies, and within the dependencies we also have the Agno as one of the dependencies. So the first thing, the first line of code we'll have is from Agno dot agent, we will import the agent, okay, comma, and we will also import the run response. All right, so these are this is the first line of code. Then we will import the agno dot models dot Groq, import Groq. Okay, so make sure that these are in capital, like here G is capital and R is capital. So because in the auto completion these were not coming in capital. And the other thing is that all of this code will be available on the GitHub, and the link will be mentioned in the description, so you don't need to type. But again, for better practice and for better understanding, you can just type all of this code instead of copying and pasting from the GitHub. So we'll be importing these two things. We'll import the agent, the run response, and the Groq. The other thing we need is the YFinance, so that we can get all the financial information about any stock or about any organization or company. So for that we will import from Agno dot tools dot YFinance and import YFinanceTools. Okay, so now again, if you're not clear that what a framework is, so as we know, Agno is one of the framework. So we can see here that we don't need to write all of those lengthy codes to get access to the YFinance or Groq. So in the Agno we already have these like libraries or methods, and all of those things are already available. So all you have to do is to just import these libraries, and then you can use the methods which are available within these libraries, which we will do in the next part of the coding. So this is what we need here, the YFinanceTools. Okay, then in order to perform the web search, so again, the YFinanceTools is to look for about stock price or about any information for a specific company. And then in order to do the web search, because we might have to look for the latest news about any organization or about any establishment, so for that we will have to use the DuckDuckGo. So these are the two agents we will be creating. One will be looking for the stock price using the YFinanceTools, and the other agent will be doing the web search. So these are the two agents we'll be creating. So, and on top of that we'll have another method which will call these two agents. So we will run a query, and based on the query it will automatically be determined that whether the agent will go to the agent 1 or agent 2, or will go to both of the agents. So let's continue for the next import. So from agno dot tools dot DuckDuckGo. So again, framework already have all of these functionalities. We will just import DuckDuckGo tools, and then we also need access to the OpenAI chat from agno dot models dot OpenAI import OpenAI chat. Okay, so these are the import statements that we need. Okay, then before we start creating our agents, one important thing is that we will have to specify the API keys. Now there will be 2-3 different type of API keys that we will have to specify. One is going to be the OpenAI API key, the next one will be the Groq and the third one is going to be for the Agno. So these will be the three APIs that we will be requiring. And so the first API that we need is for the OpenAI. Now again, before we mention the API key on the code, so to show you that from where you will be getting the API key for OpenAI, so you will go to the OpenAI website, and you make sure you go to the API section. So that is the link, platform.openai.com. And once you log in, so that will be the home screen you will have. And from the home screen, again, you can go through some of these like pricing and all of different things. But in order to get the API, you'll go to the dashboard. And from the dashboard, on the left side, you have different options. And the last one here you have is the API keys. All right. So again, if you don't have any API key, you just click here, create a new secret key, and a new API key will be created. So make sure you copy and paste the API key somewhere secure, and don't display or don't mention the API key. And the other thing is that you will have to pay to pay a certain amount to use the API key. So I think minimum you can pay $5. You can start with $5, and but again, that will be more than enough to use the different transactions or different models. So for example, if we go to the usage here, so again, I did a transaction of $5, but again, like currently I have just used like $1.25, and these are the number of tokens that I already have used. So again, it's not very costly. And if we go back again, so we can see here the pricing. So based on different models, for example, the GPT-4o, so these are the different prices which are mentioned here. So this is price based on 1 million tokens. So for 1 million tokens, it's like the input, like when we are sending the prompt, so $2.5 for 1 million tokens, and output, when the output is being generated as a result, so it is $10 for 1 million tokens. Okay. So again, it's not that expensive. So if you just make a transaction of $5, so that will be enough, more than enough for learning and doing some practicing. So again, from the dashboard, you can get your API keys. So that is the first API key that you will require. So once you have your API key, so how to use that? What you will have to do, you will have to create one environmental file .env. So you'll go here and create a new file and just call it .env. All right, now within that env file, the three API keys will be specified. So the first one that we will use is OpenAI. So this is you'll have to use the exact name, exact spelling. So that is OpenAI underscore API underscore key equals to, and within the double quotes, you will have to paste your API key. Okay, so you can just paste the API key there. Now the second API key that we will require is the Groq API key. Groq API key. Okay, so from where to get the Groq API key? So let's go to the Groq website. So you search on Google for Groq, you go to their website, and once you log in, so you'll make sure you come to the playground or any other section. But then on the left side, you can see here the API keys. Okay, so here you'll have the Groq API keys, and again, you just click here on create API key, and again, it's free to certain limit. So you just copy and paste the API key from Groq, and you come back to your Visual Studio Code and you paste there. Okay, so you just paste your API key there. Okay, then the last API key that we will require is the Agno API key. So Agno underscore API key. Okay, so where to get the Agno API key? So again, once you are on the website of Agno, you log in, and once you log in, so this is the screen you will have. And again, on the left side, almost the same interface. So on the left side, you'll have here the API key. So you just click there and you already have an API key to use. That is again free of cost. So you just copy and paste the Agno API key. Okay, so once you have these three API keys, I will paste the API keys later on, because again, you don't need to display the API keys to anyone. So once you will paste your API keys, you just save, and then let's go back to the file, the financial agent that we were working on. So once we have the API keys, then we'll see how to use those API keys, and then we will be creating our first agent. Okay, so the next line of code we have is to import OpenAI, and also to import the OS, the operating system, so that we can get the API keys from the environmental variables. And then from .env import load.env and load.env is called the method. Okay, open underscore AI underscore key is equal to OS dot get env. Okay, get env, and here we just specify in double quotes. All right, os.environment, and the square brackets, double quotes, open underscore AI underscore key is equal to open AI key. Okay, now again, because sometimes one method doesn't work to load the API key, so just to be on the safe side, I have imported, or I have mentioned all of the available methods. There is another method that we will also use, because again, sometimes we may get an error, so we just apply all of the methods that we can use to access the API key. So that is how we'll access the API key for the OpenAI, which we have specified in the environmental file .env file. Okay, so once we have the API key for OpenAI, now let's begin the fun part. And what we will do here, we will create our first agent. So we'll call it web agent. So what this agent will do, it will, based on our query, it will go online and search the information about the company, about the organization, for example, the latest news or any other information that they have publicly announced, and will get it back. And then the next agent that we will create will give us the financial information about the stock price and so on. So this is the first agent. We have the web search agent. So web search agent equals to agent, because we are going to create the agent. So this agent is coming from here at the from the first line. So we are going to create our first agent, and we are calling it the web search agent. Okay, so opening the parenthesis, and again, these are all the parameters we'll have to, not all, but some of the parameters that we will specify. So within the parenthesis, the first thing we will have to specify is the name of the agent. So we will call it web search agent. So this name will be mentioned in the user interface, because later on we'll be using the user interface, or this name will be registered that this is the official name of our agent. So that is the first parameter. Second parameter, we'll have to specify that which model this agent will use. Okay, now we will be using we can use a DeepSeek, or we can use Llama, or any other open source large language model. So we are going to use an intermediary. So we will not be directly accessing the Llama 3 or DeepSeek. Instead, we will be using the Groq. So Groq is the platform which hosts all of those open source platforms or the open source LLMs. So our model is going to be Llama, but we will use it through Groq. Okay, so Groq, and then within the Groq, we will specify the ID, and within the double quotes, we will specify the name of the LLM. So we are going to use the Llama and 3.2 and 90 billion parameter, so 90B, and it is vision preview. So again, it can be any model that you can use. For example, if we go back to the Agno, okay, so this is the website of the Agno, and if we go to the docs, the documentation of Agno, so you will find that we have all of this code and each and everything available here, different examples and so on. All right, so if we go here to the agents, okay, or instead if we go here to the model, so we can see here that all of these models can be used. Okay, so this includes DeepSeek, this also includes the Hugging Face, Llama, and all of those options are available here. So this is the model we will be using, and then comma, go to the next parameter, and that is going to be tools. Okay, so this agent will be using a tool which is called DuckDuckGo, because that is the tool we'll be using for the web search. So tools equal to, in square brackets, we will specify the name, so that is DuckDuckGo tools. All right, comma. If there are certain instructions that we want to specify to our agent, so the next parameter is going to be instructions equals to, and in square brackets we will specify any instructions. So for example, we can say that always include source. So for the web search, always include the source, like a website or any other source, and we will specify show tool calls equal to true, comma, and markdown equal to true as well. Okay. So that is the first agent, which is called the web search agent, and it will use this model, this tool, and these are the instructions that it will follow. Okay, then we will create our second agent. So we'll create this, we'll call this agent as the finance agent, and so again, agent and brackets, enter. So same things will have to follow. So we'll first give it a name, so we'll call it finance agent, comma, and role. Okay, so this is what is this agent will be performing. So role equals to get financial data, okay. So I think in the first one we didn't specify the role, so let's give the role to the first agent as well. So after name or after any other line, for the first agent, after name, let's give the role as well. Okay, and so that specifies the role of this agent. So the role of this agent is to search the web for the information, so that is the role of our first agent, and the role of the second agent we have is to get financial data. Okay, then again we will have to specify the model, so that is the same model. So I will just copy paste the model, same model there. Okay, then we will be specifying that which tool or multiple tools this agent will be using. So this agent will be using a tool which is called YFinance, because that tool is already available to get the financial information. So in the square brackets we will give it a name, YFinanceTools, and then now again, which type of information will be returned back when we will be calling this YFinance tool? Now again, there are different parameters. For example, we can get back the stock price, we can get back the analyst recommendation, we can also get any stock fundamentals. So there are different parameters which are available in the documentation. So we will input the name of the company like Apple or Microsoft, and it will return us back certain information. So what it will give us back, it will give us back, for example, the stock price. So we'll just say true, comma, analyst recommendations equals to true, comma, stock fundamentals equal to true, and we can add others as well. Okay, so these are all the possibilities we have. All right, and okay, so stock price, everything is fine. Okay, okay, all right, so that is the tool part. And then if there are any specific instructions we want to give, so that will be in the square bracket. So again, we will say that display data in the table format. Display data in table format. So that is the specific instruction for this agent, comma, and then show tool call. So this is the by default thing. Show tool calls equals to true, comma, markdown equals to true. All right. So that is the second agent that we have. Right. Now what we will do, we'll create like a group leader. So these are the two agents that we have, the web search agent and the finance agent. Now we'll be creating a group leader, and that group leader will handle each and every information, will handle each and every request. And based on the request, this group leader will be forwarding whether the request will go to the search or will go to the finance or whatever the appropriate thing to do for any request. So let's call it multi AI agent. All right, this is again an agent like the other two, but this agent will it's not going to do anything specific on its own. This agent will be like will take care of all the prompts or all the functionality. So this is an agent, and what we will do here now, this is the first line is important, that which is team. Now again, this agent will take care of the whole team, so it's like a team leader. So team equals to, and how many agents we have in our team? We have two agents. So the first one we have is the web search agent, and the next one we have is the finance agent. So these are the two agents we have in our team. You can have again more than two as well. Then which model we'll be using? So we'll be using the same model. So I'll just copy and paste. All right, then instructions, any specific instructions? Now here what we will do is we will combine both of the instructions. So the first instruction we had was always include source. Okay, comma, and the second instruction we have is display data in table format. So we have included both of these instructions, comma, and again this is show true, comma, markdown true. Okay, so this is the team leader that we have. So that is the whole scenario. All right, now what we will do is we will simply call this team leader. So this is multi AI agent dot print response, and this is where we will enter the prompt. Okay, this is where we'll enter the prompt. Now again, in later on we'll be using the web interface, so we don't need to write the prompt inside the code, but right now we will just write the prompt within the Python file to see if everything is working fine. So this is the prompt, for example, summarize analyst recommendation and share latest news for Apple, for example. Okay, comma, and outside the double quotes, comma, string equals to true. All right, so that is the end of the coding part for all of the agents and the team leader. Now what we will do is we will run the file, but before we run the file, there is one more thing we will have to do, and that is again to call some of the API key. So we already have called this OpenAI API key, but again, and we already have mentioned the API keys on the .env file. So what I will do, I will pause the video for a while and I will paste all my API keys there, and then I will show you the last step. All right, so once you will copy and paste the API keys to the .env file, and once you have written all of this code, the last step we'll have to perform is to go to the terminal, new terminal, and from there you will go to the command prompt. Okay, now what you will have to do is you will have to run a command set x. Okay, and then you will have to write, for example, open AI underscore API underscore key space, and without the double quotes, you just write down you just paste your API key. Okay, so that is how you will do set x space open AI API key space without double quotes. You just write the API key and press enter. So a variable will be saved. Okay, so I will do the same, and then I will press enter. After that, what you will do, you will go for the next one is Groq API key space without double quotes. You would just paste the API key for the Groq. Okay, and the last one that we have is Agno API key, and again without any double quotes, you just paste and press enter. So this is what you will have to do. Now again, since we already have the API keys in the .env file, but again sometimes it gets the API keys from the .env file, but it's always better to specify using this method as well. Okay, so because again we don't want any error or any bugs during the runtime. Okay, so I will run the command for all of these three APIs, and then we will continue from there. All right, so once you will run the setx command with the API keys, once you will enter, and so all the variables will be saved. Now we will run the file and check whether it's working fine or we are getting any error. So again, this is the agent in each and everything. The code is already available on GitHub, so make sure you write or you practice the code for better understanding. So let's run the file. So Python space name of the file, which is financial underscore agent.py, and the prompt we have here yeah, so it will look for the stocks and the latest information about Apple. All right, so Python financial underscore agent.py and press enter. Okay, so the error we have is cannot import name Groq from. Okay, let's go up. Oh yeah, so I think there's maybe there's a typing error, line 2. All right guys, so let's run the file, but before we run the file, there was a little typing error. So here it is not Groc, it is in fact Groq, and we will have to change the here as well in the first agent Groq, and down here as well, Groq. Anywhere else? Yeah, here. Okay, save. So we are all set with all the API keys and each and everything, and we already have run this setx command for all the API keys. So now let's try to now before we run, we'll have to go to the command prompt. Okay, now let's try to run Python financial agent.py, and before we press enter, just have a look at the query. So it will look for the stocks and news about the Apple company. So press enter. Okay, another mistake. So this is OpenAI. Okay, OpenAI underscore API underscore key, and here also OpenAI underscore API underscore key. Okay, so you make sure just correct all the spellings. So that is OpenAI underscore API underscore key. So we change here also, here, all 4 places. So make sure this is in the correct form. So now let's try to run one more time. Okay. All right, so it's working fine. As we can see, it's thinking. So that is the agent, and this is what it is currently working on. Yeah, great. Okay, so here we have analyst recommendation for Apple stock. So this is all this information here. Latest news for Apple, prediction ones will be work fine. So this is the news it is getting over the internet, and that is the stock price. Okay, so this is all the information we got. So again, we created 2 agents. So again, note the latest news is based on output web search and may not be up to date. Yeah, as we know that all the large language models, they don't have exactly up to date information or the latest live information. So that's very much understood. So this is the news, the latest news that we got over the internet. So that needs to be updated. So that needs to be the latest news because it is getting it from the internet. And but again, this stock price, whatever is stored in the large language model. So that is what we have created here. Okay, so this is how we'll be creating the AI agent. So we have 2 AI agents, and then we have a team leader, and this is the prompt. Now what we will do here, we will be working on the user interface. So which we need to have the user interface so that we can give any type of prompt for any company using the online user interface. So for that, what we will do here, we will create one more file, and we will call it playground.py. Okay, now in the playground.py, we will have very much similar data. No, not like plenty of changes, but maybe some of the import statements will be different. So let's continue. So the first line is going to be the same that we are going to get the agent. So let me just copy, or let's just type. So okay, so import agno.agent, import agent with capital A. Yeah, from. Okay, then from agno.models dot OpenAI code open AI. Chat. Okay, then from Agno playground, because we are going to create the playground which will have the user interface. Import playground and serve underscore playground underscore app. Okay, then Agno dot storage dot agent dot SQLite. So I will explain why we need the SQLite. Import SQLite agent storage. Then we need from Agno dot tool. So that's the benefit of having the framework. We don't need to write all those lengthy codes. We are just calling different libraries from the framework. So from Agno dot tools dot, this is for the web search, DuckDuckGo. Import DuckDuckGo tools, again from Agno dot tools dot YFinance. Same thing, we need to get the financial information. Import YFinanceTools, and the last one is the Groq models dot GROQ. GROQ, G in capital. Okay, then we'll have the next line, which is going to be agent underscore storage colon str equals to agents.db. So that will be the name of our database where some of the information will be saved. As for example, about the session ID and some other information. Okay, now we will be repeating almost the same thing which we did in the previous file. So again, we'll be creating our web agent. So let's call it web agent. We can give the same name, or it doesn't matter, web agent. So that is, again, we are repeating the same thing. This is our first agent, and it has a name, and we can call it web agent, comma. Then again, it has it will use a model. So I will just copy and paste the model. Okay, this is the model it is using. Then it will use a tool and instructions. So I will get from the other file. So here, same thing, tool and instructions. Okay, all right. So up to this point, it's the same code. Now we have some new lines of code. So the next one we have is the storage. All right, so it stores the agent session in the SQLite database. So we specified the SQLite, the name of the database, so it will store the agent session. So storage equals to SQLite agent storage, and in the brackets we'll specify the table name. We can give any name, so let's call it in the double quotes web agent, comma, and the name of the database. So that is going to be db underscore file is equal to agent underscore storage. So underscore storage, this is the name that we specified here. Okay, so that is for the storage part. Then we also need to specify that whether the current date and time will be added to the instructions or not, that at what time the prompt was provided to the large language model. So we can specify that information as well. So add date time to instructions is equal to true. And okay, this is important. Do we want to add the history of the conversation to the message or not? So add underscore history to message. Okay, let's put it true as well. Okay, so how many historical responses you want to store into the history? So like again, you want to store from the very beginning, or you just want to store 3-5 previous messages. So that is, let's go for 5. Okay, and that's it. And the last one we have is markdown equals to true. Okay, so this is our first agent. The second agent is going to be almost the same but with a different name, so we'll call it finance agent. Finance agent is equal to agent, same thing. Okay, so what I will do, I will copy all of this and we'll just make the minor changes. Okay, so the name we have is instead of web agent, it is a finance agent. Finance agent. Okay, same model. Okay, tools, we have something different, so it is using a YFinance that I can copy from the previous file. So tools, I can copy the whole line, same thing, tools, and I can remove this one. Okay. Okay, then we have the instructions. Okay, did we have okay, always include source? Yeah, we have the instructions, the first one. For the second one, we'll go with the same instructions, and that is always use tables to display data. Always use tables to display data. All right, then the storage part, and the table name, instead of web agent, we can just call it finance agent. Okay, the database is the same, and all are the same, like true, 5, and true, and everything. Okay, that's right. So this is our second agent. Okay, then we have just 2-3 lines of code remaining. So the next line we have is app. So that is to give the user interface, or to create the interface on the web server. So app is equal to playground. Okay, and in the playground, now this playground is let me show you. If we go back to Agno, so this is the interface of the Agno. You can, the same place where you get the API key. Now if you click here on playground, so for example you are on dashboard. So this is the main screen, the dashboard. If you come here to the playground, now this is the same playground that we are trying to access now, okay, using your API key, which means it will come to this screen. So this is the playground, and you can see here the endpoint. Okay, now if everything goes fine, so you will be able to see your endpoint here, and you can just run the query, which means first of all you will run the server from your local computer, and you can use the instance on the remote server. So let's see how this will work. But that is what the playground is. The playground is on the Agno website. So this is the playground. All right, so playground, and now we will have to specify that on this playground how many agents we will have. Okay, so yeah, agents equal to, so we have 2 agents, so we'll have to specify in the square brackets because it's an array of information. So the first one we have is web agent, and the second one we have is the finance agent. Okay, and then after the bracket dot get underscore app. Okay, so this will create the instance of the playground with these 2 agents. Okay. Then the last 2 lines of code, so if underscore name double equal sign to and then in the double quotes underscore main colon, then serve playground app, and then in the bracket we'll have to specify the name of our file. So the name of our file is playground. Okay, so this could be any name. So this playground, again we are using small p, not capital, so this name could be any name, but just you need to make sure that here this must be in capital P. Okay, this must be in capital P. Yeah, app is equal to playground, but one second, let me check here. Import playground. Yeah, so that's the problem, because by default at the very top on line number 3 this came with small p, so this will be with capital P. Okay, same here as well. Okay, so but remember, this is not our file name. Our file name is within these brackets, so this could be any name, doesn't matter, playground or whatever. So that is, we have playground colon app. Okay, and so that is going to be within the quotes. Okay, and so then comma reload equals to true, which means if there are any changes to our code or anything, so it will automatically reload, so we don't need to press the refresh button. So that is the last line of code, and so I think everything is fine. All right, so let's save. So again you can see here that we are not giving any prompt in the code. So if we go back to the previous file, so we are calling our agent and then we are specifying the prompt, so that worked completely fine. But this time we are not giving any prompt, which means we will give the prompt like we give a prompt to ChatGPT or any other language model. So what we will do once we have saved the file, so this is the last output that we had. Now what we will do here, okay, fine, yeah, so we can see here now, yeah, so before I thought it is just having one row, but in fact this is all the information it gave us, the previous prompt that we ran within the Python file. Okay, anyways, so this worked completely fine. Now what we will do, instead of running this file financial underscore agent, now we will run the playground. Okay, so Python space playground .py. Okay, now what it will do, it will not run the query because we have not specified any query. In fact, it will create an instance on the remote server, and let's see if everything works fine. So press enter. Okay, all right, great. So as we can see here that it has started a playground on localhost. Okay, but this is not the localhost on our computer, so it's not on our web browser. We just go to the localhost and 7777. So this is the playground URL. So either you can copy, or what you can do here, if you don't want to copy or any other stuff, what you can do here, you can go to the Agno website. Now if you can see here the endpoint, so if you go here and click here on endpoint, so just refresh. Okay, and check again. Yeah, now we can see here that we have the local host. So this is the local host that was initiated on our local Python. So if we go here and if we click here on localhost, so this is now our kind of ChatGPT. Okay, so this is our large language model, and we can just type anything, any prompt here. Okay, now before we try any prompt, it is possible that you may get an error, or you will not be able to view your local host here. You just have the demo agent, or that's it, but you may not have the local host there. Now the reason could be that, now let me just close this, kill this operation with Control C, and we will run it again in a while. Okay, so what you may have to do, if you are not able to see your local host on the Agno playground, you will have to just run this command, which is ag setup. So you just type this command, ag setup. Let me show again. So ag setup, and press enter. Now what it will do, it will get the authentication. So it will get your authentication to make sure that you have the authentication to use the browser or not. Now again, it is waiting for a response from the browser. Okay, and so what you can do is, it will automatically open the browser, but on my machine it opened the Internet Explorer. So what I can do, I can just copy, okay, because I'm working on the Google Chrome, so I can copy and paste and close this browser. I can go back to Google Chrome, and I can paste. Okay, I can paste, and now it will ask me to log in. Okay, so it again, since I'm already logged in, but now if we go back, so we can see here that welcome. So this is my user ID, this is the email which I'm using, so which means I'm being authenticated to use their playground and each and everything. Now again, it is not always the case, but sometimes it may happen that you will not be able to see your local host there. So if that is the case, then you just run this command, ag space setup, and so either you copy this code here and paste it onto the browser, or you just continue, and then you will be authenticated. Now everything is fine, so let's try again. Okay, and so let me again run this command, python space playground.py, and the same thing that we had before. So let's go back, and since this is the new window, so let's try on this new window. So let's click here on playground, and now if we click here on endpoint, so we can see we have localhost. So if we click there on localhost, now we can ask any question. Okay, now we can ask any question. So let's ask the same question. Let's say, give me latest news about Apple. Okay, press enter. Yeah, so here are the latest news from various sources. Okay, that's right. Okay, fine. Okay, what is the stock recommendation for Nvidia? Let's say. Yeah, so it is a strong buy with an average price of this 169.53. Okay, that's great. So let's go back. Okay, now we can see here, now under the agent, so we can see these are the two agents. These are the names that we gave to our agents, web agent and the finance agent, and this is the model we are using through Groq, Llama 3.2, and whatever the name that we have here. And once you are done, you can just go back to your terminal, and you can press type Control C. So it will turn off the remote access. So now if we go back to our local host, so it will, yeah, it is not available here. We can see here the signal, it is not available. Okay, so I hope this video is going to give you some more understanding about the AI agents, and in the next video we'll be covering some of the automation parts And see you in the next video, and thank you for watching.